You never know if it could change your life. Take a chance, you're neither wrong or right. You never know if you don't roll them dice. You better roll them dice. You never know if it could change your life. Take a chance, you're neither wrong or right.
Well, Rob, that was a fun first third of our adventure talking.
All right.
How you doing? Let's do a little check-in. How are you feeling?
You know what? I'm feeling good. I honestly feel good because we've gotten most of my least favorites out of the way. So it's kind of all uphill from here. It's all smooth sailing. That's not true. There's some not great ones coming up, but there's some that I am excited to talk about, at least in brief. So let's dig in.
Okay.
How about you, Matt? How are you doing?
Thanks for asking, Rob. I'm doing okay. I remember that the last couple years have had some adventures that have been very infuriating for me to read, and that I can see their potential and their execution isn't there. I'm reminded that actually some of them were not all that bad. So,
okay.
And speaking of ones that may not be all that bad, our next adventure is one that is not entirely written by Wizards of the Coast, and that is Critical Role: Call of the Netherdeep.
Yeah, so this doesn't speak to the adventure at all, but I completely forgot that this existed. I could not remember anything about this adventure when
we did a entire 80-minute episode.
I know, and I was like, how is it possible that I talked about this for 80 minutes and I can't remember? But then I listened to a bit of it and I started reading it and it came back. So it was not that this was bad. I just we've just done so many and this one just sort of fell out of my brain. But it is a Critical Role adventure and there are some hallmarks of Critical Role upon it. And
Exandria.
It's in Exandria.
Vestiges of divergence.
And
what if the moon was bad?
What if the moon was evil? That's right.
It's a Stephen King-ass plot. I love it. I mean, what a great... Listen, if you steal nothing else, just write on your adventure planning sheet, moon equals evil? ? There you go. Go from there.
This is an interesting adventure. I like... Critical Role always feels like a breath of fresh air. They have a different set of priorities when it comes to writing and playing adventures, so I'm not always as interested in the things that they include as I might be, but I really appreciate what they do.
The rival system for me was a real interesting idea.
Was
and a great thing to steal.
Very easy to borrow, worth the price of admission alone. The problem with this adventure, and this gets to Matt, one of your criteria, is that the players are not really the stars, the star, or even the protagonist. The protagonist is in fact this guy named Elixion, the Apotheon, which is cool. That's a cool name, a cool concept. He's, his despair is so deep.
It's so much cooler. Our names are Rob and Matt. His name is Elixion, the Apotheon, or whatever. We're never gonna compete with this guy. Let's go home.
Amazing hero from the time of legends is so, his despair is so great that he's infecting the world or something, and you have a 3-part Final Fantasy ass, a boss battle with him where he transforms into a horrible bug and then a terrifying angel. And it's cool. It's just the whole adventure suffers because you're just kind of following in his footsteps.
Yeah. I think the concepts of destiny in this were pretty cool. The concept, the way the rival party is used is pretty cool. The connective tissue, again, is also a weak point. There are parts where players are not really given a lot of options for how to proceed other than wait for the person to kind of tell you where to go. The whole opening conceit of the adventure, relying on players or their rivals to touch a thing, is there's a lot of weakness in this in how to get from point A to B, but some of the middle parts, right? I think were really, really fun. The whole demon fighting fortress was very cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool set pieces the problem is that Matt says, they don't really, it doesn't really make sense how they like connect to each other. This is a good one though. I think this is a good adventure. This is I would put this in lunch pail.
This is the definition of a lunch pail. It needs some work, right? Like all adventures do, more than maybe average, but the concepts here, they're not mind-blowing, but they're good concepts.
They're strong.
Better than Spelljammer, worse than Spelljammer?
Better than Spelljammer
for now?
Better than Spelljammer, but definitely the same tier, I think.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Thanks, Critical Role, for doing an adventure. And if you really like Exandria, that's, I think, another bonus for this one.
Yeah, this is a good Exandria book. We did a whole episode on Exandria as a setting. I like it. I don't know if we're putting that in a tier. That's like a solidly middle tier for me.
Right.
I don't hate it. I don't love it. So, but if you do love Exandria, if you love Critical Role, and you want to play in the setting but not like follow in their footsteps, Call of the Netherdeep is good. This will give you the feel of a Critical Role campaign without, you having to just like do a Critical Role campaign. I think this is good.
Yeah. All right. Critical Role, Call of the Netherdeep, B tier, and that brings us to Strixhaven, a curriculum of chaos. Was this me writing my syllabus before the school year? Anyway, so Strixhaven is, I think, our one and only Magic the Gathering setting. This one is shorter. It's just over 100 pages, so keep that in mind when we're comparing it to these nearly 300-page monstrosities. Rob, for me, this is in the category of this shouldn't be a D&D campaign. You should use some other system. Because it's all about like being and living in school and like developing these relationships and stuff when it's at its best, right? When it's at its worst, it's a series of like linear like quests that you have to do.
I mean, it has the structure of a Harry Potter book, and that the first like 2/3 of it is you're hanging out with your friends, you're going to class, you're trying to win the Strixhaven, pickleball competition. Whatever. Anyway, it's like
right, it's Magic pickleball,
But it's fun. And Matt's right. Like this is a decent campaign idea. It's a great campaign idea for a different setting. Like you're not really interacting with D&D or D&D's system or mechanics for most of this, which is good because if you were, that wouldn't be a very fun school campaign. And then at the end, it's like, oh, oops, here's a bad guy. Go to a bunch of places, go to a dungeon, fight a bad guy.
The bad guy's plan doesn't make any sense. The players aren't really given a chance to like investigate or interact or use their own initiative, which is it's a real missed opportunity because, having an open-ended like, hey, the first chunk of our campaign will take place over a whole year. You have a ton of freedom to pursue your own goals, all have some loose notes, improvise some scenes. You're not given a lot to work with that. And then a lot of the other stuff is a lot of telling, not showing, where it's like, you go to class, make a class check, right? Instead of giving you a framework for making up, hey, a dramatic scene's going to happen in one of your classes. Let's set the stakes here and stuff like that. Again, these are things that a lot of game systems do very well. D&D does not. We should also mention this of all the Magic settings, I think is the one that interests me the most. But however, you have to change it from a Magic playing card setting into like an interactive and fully fleshed out world, and they did not do that work.
No, and they don't want to make it easy for you, presumably because the MTG brand manager is like, you can't do that. You're not allowed to make any changes to.
And they have $10 billion in D&D team. Like I'm pretty sure is like 3 guys and maybe 1 woman.
Yeah.
I don't know, in a temporary. If it was a school, they would be in the portable building.
They'd be in the portable building. There's some fun exams, like rules for exams that the PCs have to take to pass. I thought they were
like these.
Matt did like them.
They're just stupid checks. They're not. They're not interactive. They're jokes, but they're not jokes your players create through play. They're jokes you tell as the DM. In my opinion, Rob liked them. That's fine, right? See, different opinions.
Entertaining to run, but I can entertain a different possibility.
And I can see how they would be fun to run. It's important we occasionally have a different opinion.
We do occasionally disagree.
Really.
I do think that this is solidly C tier though. Like it is a fixer-upper, largely because there's not much here. Matt wants to put it in F tier, I think.
I want to put it in F tier. I was so insulted of this. I will put it at the top of F tier or the bottom of C tier.
I put it in F tier. I think it should be an F tier because like there's really not anything here. There's not actually an adventure here. I don't feel insulted as much because again, I keep grading on a curve for the ones that didn't give me as much suffering. But really, like by our criteria, there's not even really an adventure to modify. There's nothing really to work with. There is some stuff that's interesting in here, which is not true of some of the other F tier adventures, but that's not enough to rescue it from bottom tier. I agree.
No. Like I would run this in a completely different system. I would make like a magic version of Masks, or you could use Kids on Broom if you like that system, or a modified version of the like Things from the Flood system. I would use any other system, and I would also just the adventures do not give the players the needed stuff to explore. I would say it is probably at the top of F tier, and that there were some cool NPCs. And listen,
that's
if
right,
you want to run a Magic School campaign, there's probably stuff for you to steal from here. And I think
it feels like
a lot
a shame
of
to
people
put it in the same tier because there is not a single thing that I would take from Vecna. But there are some things I would take from Strixhaven. I don't know. Maybe we need an even lower tier for.
Here's Rob. Alert! This is the highest adventure in subscribers we've put in F tier. People like the idea of Strixhaven, whether they've run it or not. Of course, my stats can't tell, but there are over 5,000 subscribers to the Strixhaven
because it's got that MTG
subreddit.
shine. You know what's funny about this is that like they made noises like they were going to do this for all sorts of Magic the Gathering settings, and then just either lost interest or didn't get. It's just like it's like funny how like Wizards keeps getting like what I think is like, oh, they're doing a new thing, and then they abandon the thing. Like it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love our fail company, our beautiful fail company, Wizards of the Coast.
Succeeding despite themselves. They own a thing. The thing is called the name Dungeons and Dragons. It helps them out a lot. Hey, but occasionally they produce some really good stuff, as you can see. There's even one on the A tier. Speaking of tiers and lists, so Strixhaven went to F tier, and now we're on to Candlekeep Mysteries. It's library time. Or no, wait, did I skip one?
You skipped one, Matt. It's The Wild Beyond the Witchlight.
The Wild Beyond the Witchlight. It's the promise of Feywild and fairy tales. Not exactly the Fey most people think about, but it is in the Feywild.
It is in the Feywild. It definitely was. This is another one where like the hype and the marketing didn't quite match what you were getting. Here's the cool thing about Wild Beyond the Witchlight is that there's very, 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 very little combat. Almost none. In fact, I think you can play this whole campaign without any combat. This was kind of the the thing.
As we said in our episode, that is the promise, the execution of that. Sure. That is with perfect play, you will never take damage. Okay, sure. I mean, again, but there is less combat. Rob is absolutely right.
There's much less combat. There's lots of puzzles and strange NPCs and things to solve and negotiations to happen. What do I want to say? I didn't like this one very much. I got to be honest. I did not enjoy reading this. I do kind of want to give this a
intro.
Boost.
The carnival was very cool.
Carnival was very cool. I want to give this a boost. It
needs a lot of work to run it, as we said in our episode. But yeah, what do you want to give it a boost for?
Well, just because it was ambitious, and I want to reward. Like I said, my first criteria is it interesting and unique, and this was interesting and unique. And I think that even though it wasn't for me, I thought there was something cool and ambitious here, and I think there's some really good ideas. The beginning and the carnival were great, and then maybe you go somewhere else. So I would put this in. I'd put this in Fixer Upper. I want to put it higher, but I think I
would put it higher than some of our other Fixer Uppers.
This is a high.
I think it
upper.
easily. Is it higher than Quests? I don't know. We might reassess that, but it's definitely in the C tier. It is not so bad that It's F tier. I think it really suffers from I think this was maybe one of the first ones where we got our first bit of glup shitification, where
Oh yes,
right,
it's not
a villain that was not
in this.
Igwilv. I have nothing against Igwilv as an NPC, but it seems like too much effort went into shoehorning in her story when there are so many more interesting folktale and phase stories to tell. Maybe this is me just being I wanted the war between King whatever and Queen whatever, or the Sealy courts fighting each other and stuff like that. But yeah, it's definitely a fixer-upper.
I mean, no, I don't need to apologize for this.
I always feel like I need to
a
apologize
character
for who I am.
From Gary Gygax's, campaign that has been around since the fucking early 80s, late 70s. Who gives a shit? You need to convince me why I should care about Igwilv. I don't care about Tosh. I don't care about Igwilv. I don't care about Drist, Doran, or Elminster.
I don't care about Mordenkainen or any of these other NPCs.
And to be quite frank, nobody does. Nobody who's not a massive D&D nerd cares about these people because they have not been given any characterization in 50 years. They're just look, it's a guy. You like this guy. It is Glup Shitto. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting mad.
All right. Use your anger and just strike down Glup Shitto, and you will become more powerful than it has ever been.
All right, let's move on.
All right, so that takes us to Candlekeep Mysteries, another anthology.
That's right.
Anthologies are a nice break because whatever flaws a campaign might have, anthologies almost all of them always have some really good ones.
Yeah,
and
I never get mad reading these because there's always something to enjoy. There's never been one that has all bad books or all bad adventures. And yeah, Candlekeep Mysteries, it also has this is barely a framing device, but I like Candlekeep as a setting, and I think
this is a great framing device because it's just a location, right? So you can use it or not use it. I think this framing device.
This is frankly the perfect framing device in that you can kind of ignore it, but if you want to use it, it's easy. And it's here's a little bit about Candlekeep, which never makes me mad. It's oh good, a location and some interesting stuff, and then you're off to the adventures.
So I re-listened to our episodes about this. I think we did 3, including one of those is an interview with one of the
that's right,
authors. And while here's where I'm coming from is while the average is maybe higher than some of our other anthologies, the mean, the tales of this, the ones that are really good aren't as good as some of the ones from Radiant Citadel. But again, there are some good ones. Zurkran's Zephyrian Tome, the Canopic one at the very end that we read. Yeah. Yes.
I liked Candlekeep Deconstruction. I loved Shemshime's Bedtime Rhyme.
I was okay on those two, but I can see why they were. I thought they were middle. Yeah.
We were divided on The Joy of Extra-Dimensional Spaces, which I liked a lot.
You really liked. I thought it had some structural flaws. There are some that were not very good. I
think we both liked
the lows were not as low.
I think we both liked the Book of Inner Alchemy. I liked it. I loved the Book of Inner Alchemy.
I liked the Book of Inner Alchemy.
But I agree with you that this one has sort of a lower average, even though there's less there's fewer duds, but there's also fewer standout adventures. Even the ones the ones that I liked.
There were no. We could put it in terms of our tier. There were fewer of the adventures here that were S unforgettable tier, but there were less ones that I felt were just completely unworkable or insulting.
I would put this is a solid lunch pail to me. This is workable. It's not, outstanding, but you're not going to have a hard time making this work.
I would say that overall there are more usable and like Lunge Pail and Paragon adventures in this than Keys from the Golden Vault. There's greater variety too, because Keys from the Golden Vault, purports to be heists. I would say about 70% of them are heists. I would say this one also has, better overall things. Rob, I actually gonna say this one might actually be a Paragon tier, close to Journeys from the Radiant Citadel.
Okay.
I think it's on the line between those two.
If you want to
we
push
can
it up,
choose to move
I
it.
just mentioned a bunch that I liked, and you were like, I don't like those. So, I
Well, they weren't my
the
favorite. Those
between
ones
the two
were,
of us-
the difference is you're saying those are A, I'm saying they're B.
Okay. I think it's like the point is between the two of us, there was a lot for both of us to like, which makes me think that maybe this is actually an A tier.
Yeah. The ones I don't like, I'm saying, are like B adventures.
Right. None of the ones in there that were bad, they were at worst a B. There was nothing that was like a total waste of time, which is rare because in most of the anthologies, there are at least a couple that are a total waste of time.
Yeah. I think there's also just a lot of adventures in this. I can't remember if there are. Oh wait, there are 17, which compared to the other ones,
four
there's
more than Journeys and
more for
four
your money.
more than Keys from the Golden Vault. So like, just bang for your buck. More adventures.
Mhm.
And the fact that none of them are complete duds, I think that's right. I think this is a Paragon tier. I agree.
The fact that they're also not all themed, I think, makes them more usable.
Yeah.
Again, that you're not going to a new world like in Journeys from the Radiant Citadel, but they're more usable. They're not more usable, easier to plop into the median campaign, whatever that is. Okay, a solid A tier, and that moves us on to Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frost
Maiden,
which we have not only two, but 3 episodes on. One of those is an interview with one of the writers.
That's right. The friend of the show, Michaela, oh God, I forgot their last name. Anyway, came on and talked to us about this. This was another one where they brought in some new writers, some new ideas. It is all about, you guessed it, folks, Icewind Dale and the ascendance of a ancient demigod of winter.
Brr, it's cold in here. This might be a good adventure. I can't rhyme this. Anyway, I can't rhyme it.
Matt.
For this atmosphere, sorry. Yes.
This is another one where they toyed with format and framing a little bit. They were a little bit more ambitious. It's not like a huge difference, but it's not very railroady. And there's some.
This is the sandbox adventure.
This is, and it's a real sandbox in that the outcomes of this adventure kind of vary wildly based on the decisions that your characters make. There are, in my opinion, some major missteps, especially in the early chapters, that stop this from being a truly exceptional adventure. But this remains one of my favorites of the entire 5e canon. I think this is really
I've
good.
stolen more from this than probably most of the other, if not all of the other adventures.
Yeah.
It was a joy to read one where, okay, yeah, you could quibble, and I think we have that. Maybe if this one had 2 pages of a flowchart showing where all the hooks from various places lead, it would work so much better. But by now, people have done that work for you, and it's really open-ended what the players can do. They have a clear overall goal. And while a lot of the hype called this kind of like a horror survival adventure, it's not that, but it's still really good. There's a sense of place. The characters have the chance to become the heroes of Icewind Dale, defeat an evil goddess. The end might be kind of like, hey, you gotta go to this dungeon and do a thing, but the first part is really, really good.
First part's really, really good. Strong opening. You fight a giant robot dragon. It's cool. You can permanently set the entire world back 1,500 years if you accidentally use a staff of power on a Netherese orb.
That's the type of fucking with things that more adventures should have.
Yeah. This I think is at least I got to put this in A tier. I wish I could give this an S, but like there's Matt still puts it an S.
Oh, it's real close, Rob. This is a really good campaign.
It's a really good campaign. I think that it's just like not quite there.
Yeah, we can reserve the rights to adjust. But I also agree it is at least A tier. Would you say it's better than our two?
This is the best for me. This is the best of any we have discussed so far. This is my favorite adventure.
I agree.
This is of the 5e adventures. Maybe I should caveat this. The ones that are written for 5e. This is top 3. You know, so this is one of my favorites. There's just a few things about the end and a little bit that I didn't love about the beginning. That didn't kind of like connect, like we said, that connective tissue is missing.
Yeah.
But I really, really like this adventure. Really good.
I think why this one works so well is, one, the like character creation is, while still being completely open-ended, allows your players to invest themselves in the 10 towns of Icewind Dale. They all have like interesting secrets. Those secrets often connect to quests that are going on. They all have a clear goal. Hey, it's like always winter and never Christmas. They have things that people want them to do that don't feel meaningless. There aren't any fucking NPCs that could just solve their problems for them that are annoying. The players are the stars of the show.
They're the stars. They really do need to like solve the problem or bad things will happen. Yeah. You can summon a Torask if you want to. You shouldn't, but you can.
Yes, that's great. It trusts players and DMs to kind of let them do stuff, and also has enough guides for how to interpret what might happen when players do whatever they want. Again, the clear joy of role-playing games, doing whatever you want, telling your story.
Yeah. If I can, as an aside, like when they put this out, this felt to me, this was the most hopeful I ever was about 5th edition's like adventure writing, because I was like, oh, they've got some new writers, they're letting them experiment, they're letting them do new things. This is great. This shows real promise. Unfortunately, it did not continue. But I think that if they had kept this energy, right, 5th edition would be in an entirely new place, because love it or I think most people would love it, but like even if you didn't love it, I think they were doing something really interesting, and it was a really unique. It wasn't just like a new shiny version of the same type of adventure that you would have gotten in the 2000s or 90s. It was something else entirely. It was good. Anyway,
there are some real fantastical things, some real wacky things, some real creepy things. In this, it runs a good gamut of tones, which again, in my personal experience, variety is the spice of adventuring life. You do want to switch it up. This one does this great. If I have any caveats of this, it's that it does require more work up front, but you absolutely want to put that work in. Actually, that's not even a caveat. That's just how you should plan a campaign.
Yeah, every I was realizing this when I was putting my list together. Like every one of the ones that I'm going to recommend do require a lot of prep, but good prep, I guess. Like, your preparation will feel useful and not wasted. But yeah, that is
the ones that don't are ones that are like you're doing more prep in the middle of running things to try and make the players go where you want or something. And in the good ones, the players go where you have prepared material because they're choosing to, and they have a bunch of choices in how they want to do it and like what their approach is. And this one, real rewards of player agency, maybe a little less at the very end. I'm trying to think what it would have had to do to get into that S tier. We can come back to that. I might push you to revise this one later, but for now, let's leave it in A tier and move on to Baldur. Or no, wait, is that correct? Yes,
that is right.
Baldur's
Gate. Descent into Avernus. Amusingly, I have no idea why they had like sort of the Baldur's Gate : just I guess to like make you think of Baldur's Gate. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't actually take place in Baldur's Gate. In fact, it does start there, but like very little. takes place in Baldur's Gate, but that's okay. Whatever. Their naming conventions have always been very fucking weird.
Yeah. The adventure starts into it. It is tagline, you're going to hell, and you do go to hell.
You go to hell.
And you're in hell for kind of the last third of the adventure. So this is a really cool concept. Cities are getting dragged into hell. Well, I don't know. Rob, what are your thoughts on this? We have an episode on this one.
I really like this one, and you should listen to our episode on it because we talked about it a lot. The beginning. So the city that gets dragged to hell is El Terrell, which is a city in the Sword Coast, and it's not the city that you're from. And the first part is kind of annoying and dumb. It doesn't really, in my opinion, have a lot to do with the rest of the adventure. But once you get to Avernus, once you get to hell, there is that Mad Max in hell where you get like an infernal war machine, which Matt and I discussed. You should extend that part as long as you can because it is fun, interesting, compelling. There's cool NPCs, there's cool locations, there's cool war machines.
Right. Redo the execution and kind of create a point crawl map for your players so they can actually, have the freedom of having their own hell motorcycle game.
There's also, Zariel is, in my opinion, a very compelling villain, a very frightening villain, and there's like multiple ways to deal with her. You can try to redeem her, which is very hard. You can try to kill her, which is also hard but less hard. Or you can unleash Tiamat to fight her in the skies above sunken El Terrell.
One of the reasons she's a really compelling villain is the adventure, I think, does a pretty good job of introducing her like pretty early on, letting you know about her, letting you uncover lore. It does suffer from a lot of this is conveyed not through player interaction, but a NPC just telling the players. But again, I would say she's probably in the top 3 villains of all of these.
So, the very obvious thing to do with this, in my opinion, is to either make the players from El Terrell or have the city that's dragged to hell be Baldur's Gate or Waterdeep, where they're from. Like, this, to me, feels like an easy fix. Yeah. And if you did that, this would suddenly be a really good adventure. So
this one is so close to being S tier. It just needs some help with connective tissue, like a couple baffling bits of logic, a couple spots where players are restrained for no reason when they should have the freedom to make all of these interesting choices.
There's no way.
The other weak part is the very beginning.
So I was going to say, there's no way to make this S tier without entirely rewriting chapter 1. And this is a problem because all the other ones that are bad, you just need to fix it. But it's just like, it seems like it's out of a different adventure. Like, it's not aggressively bad on its own. It just it doesn't fit. I would put this in A tier. It's lower on the A tier, but this is an A tier adventure for me. This is one of my top 3 for 5th edition. I really like this. I don't mind the fixes that have to be made because the good parts are really good and there's a lot to be excited about here.
Yeah, you've convinced me. It's A tier. It's nowhere near Icewind Dale.
It's not.
But it is. The concept is even better, and while there's lots of fails to the execution, they can be fixed, right?
Yeah.
And that's it is. It's
part
not,
of the thing is you can just.
It's not 6 months of work to fix them. It's probably a day of planning.
Right. It's an easy fix relative. This would be to me disappointing, but you could just cut the entire first chapter, which sucks and is boring, and just have your players start at a higher level.
Right.
And pick up, and then it would be.
Or throw in your own adventure, Lost Mines, something like that.
Exactly. It would instantly be twice as good. And that's, to me, that feels like such an easy fix.
All right, we're really going. We're doing some good adventures here. I'm feeling good.
How are we feeling about the next one, Matt? About Dragons of Icespire Peak.
Dragons of Icespire Peak. So this is another one that came in a starter set. So like a little box you can buy at Target that is a short rule book.
Oh, I forgot. This was the one they put in the big box stores. This was a big deal. I don't really know how that turned out.
Okay, so I think the rule book, I actually, we usually own the digital copies of these. I own the physical one. This is like a pretty good starter rule book, but that's here nor there for our tier rule list. So all all starter sets must be measured against the OG. And
right.
like many
I
of
mean,
this
sorry,
one,
if you've already got Lost Mind of Phandelver, and it's good, then if you make a new one, it should be at least as good because it's going to be compared to the original.
So this one is set in Phandelver, but unlike Lost Mines, which gives your players an exciting first hook and like, you know, a sandbox to play around in, but maybe an ultimate goal or several ultimate goals, this one is a series of very, very small quests. It's set in Phandelver, and the kind of connective tissue is the mayor of Phandelver just, you know, tells the players to go do a thing. They come back. He tells them to do another thing. So not all of these are bad. Some are more on the rails than others. Some are really, really bad, but some are okay. They also do a bad job of linking them to each other, right? So, like, if you build a quest hub, Rob, and you have your players go on one quest, right? They'll often find clues for other quests and then want to go do those on their own. This, like, tries to make you not do that so that they have to come back to their quest giver. However, again, the redeeming part is some of the quests, shorter quests, are pretty decent and pretty okay. And because it's set in Phandelver and these are like take or leave quests, if you got this in addition to Lost Mines of Phandelver, you can absolutely throw in some of the better ones in this. It's like the opposite mirror universe, Phandelver and below Shattered Obelisk, whereas that adventure makes Lost Mines of Phandelver worse. This one makes Lost Mines of Phandelver better.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's my take on this particular starter set.
Okay. So where do you want to put this, Matt?
It's really hard to rank these, so keep that in mind when you judge our final tier list for starting adventures. So I know it's better than Shattered Obelisk. It didn't exalt me, and it's way better than Dragon of Stormwrack Island. I would say, you know, it's stuff to steal from. It is not for running one after another. Do not do this. So I would say it's at the upper range of the C tier. I would say it's probably better than our like Dragonlance adventure. That's about where I would have this one land.
Okay.
All right. Dragons of Icespire Peak. There you go. Plopped firmly in the middle of the C tier.
Fixer-upper.
Way better than Stormwrack Island, but again, do not get this as your starter adventure, only as a supplement.
Okay. On to Ghosts of Saltmarsh, another anthology.
So we've talked about several anthologies now. And of all of the anthologies, we've had a couple with some really shitty framing devices, one with an okay one. This one's my favorite framing device because we're given an entire town full of NPCs and a map of the surrounding area, things that are going on. This is a great framing device. It's a great adventure hub.
This is the only one of the anthologies we've talked about, and maybe of all of them, period, where I have used and would use the framing device and run them as presented.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
I have as well. Yeah.
But I actually think this is a real testament to this book. This is the ideal form of an anthology, right? If you are going to resurrect a bunch of adventures from previous decades, tie them together and make it work. And they've done a really good job here. I really like...
These are all previously published adventures, some from the recent past, some that are very, very old. But they really did make them all better by giving us ship rules and this like great hub for adventure.
Hub, hexes. This is really, really good. This also includes some of my very favorite adventures of all time. Salvage Operation is again fuck you, Mike Merles, but it is a really good adventure. I have to give him credit. This is clever. I love it. I've run it twice. One of my most memorable character deaths happened here. I love Salvage Operation. I love the original, the
very first one is a great
one.
adventure.
Sinister Secret of Saltmarsh is great.
The Styes,
is really good. There are no duds here. Not all of them I love as much, but I think all of these are pretty good, and I do think they sort of like tie together pretty well.
I remember the Abby one being really boring.
Abby's kind of boring, but it's not like aggressively boring. It's just kind of like, eh.
There's like a great concept with the one with the lizard folk and the Swaggin.
Yes,
the actual execution, is a little. It's like you don't need the hugest dungeon of the Swaggin to run this, but you make that little change. We have a whole episode on.
We do,
on
and
this
that
book.
one, everything about this, like I was like you could either like fix it or just cut it. Like I think I was like I wouldn't run the like Isle of the Abbey one, and there were some changes I would make to Tamarot's Fate. Anyway, this is really really good. This is a solid A tier to me. I would put this in A tier.
I would never run any of the other anthologies. So they're all set up kind of for better or worse, where you can run the adventures one after another. I would never do that, even with ones I really like Journeys Through the Radiant Citadel and Candlekeep. I would not do that.
Right.
I would do that with this one. And in fact, I have run two of them back to back.
My campaign petered out after Danger at Dunwater, but I was running them, one after the other, and it was working. I really, really liked it. Yeah.
Does that mean this is a better A-tier adventure than Journeys and Candlekeep?
I would put this above our other anthologies. If you want to fight me on that, that's okay.
I'm fine with that.
I think this is my favorite anthology, and the best of the anthologies that we've discussed, in my opinion.
It has the best supplementary material and hub. And if it's really hard to compare a range of adventures because they're by different authors and you're completely disconnected from each other, just kind of loosely tied together by this book. So how do you compare them? I think the criteria of I would actually run these back to back to back is a good tiebreaker.
I think it's a good
tiebreaker. Fine putting it over those. Yeah. Still looking at you, Icewind Dale. Man, Maybe because this is this would have probably been my top of the A tier or close to. It's not an S tier.
The more we talk about it, why don't we move Icewind Dale to S tier? Because we have nothing there right now. So let's.
No, wait. That shouldn't be enough reason to put something in S tier. Let me make a pitch to you. If you ran Ghosts of Saltmarsh from beginning to end, you would have a great, amazing campaign.
Yes.
Would it be unforgettable, right? Probably not.
Probably not. It would be really good.
I would say Icewind Dale would be pretty unforgettable, right? You saved the whole 10 towns, you fought a goddess, you discovered a Netherese citadel, and you made your own decisions.
Tarask, you make your own decisions. Yeah, you put, yeah. Ooh, I do think, that's the thing. I do think it is unforgettable. I think that
it's glitching. It's glitching. It's glitching on the line. Okay.
Listen, if you want to put it in S, I think that's good. But let's wait.
Let's wait. Yeah.
But
we don't have the S tier noise yet. So.
The more I think about it, the more I'm being compelled.
Rob, there's been too much positivity, so I'm going to interject from May 1st, 2019 through November 19th, 2019. Wizards of the Coast released 3 short adventures. Stranger Things, Hunt for the Thessal Hydra. The Lost Dungeon of Wickedness, included in the Rick and Morty box set, and the Acquisitions Incorporated adventure. So all 3 of these are tie-ins with other media properties, or also by non-Wizards, or there are Wizards collaborations with other companies and studios. I have looked through these. Some of them are some of them are absolutely insulting. Is there one of these you want to start with first?
I haven't read any of these, Matt.
Okay.
I hate these.
Right.
I think these are insulting on the face of them. I have no interest in reading them. They felt like cheap, lazy cash grab tie-ins. I don't like Acquisitions Incorporated as a concept, I can't listen to those guys talk. I'm sorry.
It's fine.
Penny
Arcade guys catching strays on this tier list. You know, they're
not
over
strays.
there.
We've discussed why they deserve my scorn. Anyway, sorry. When we were discussing this, I deliberately did not read these. If you want to talk about them and put them on the tier list, I won't be upset. I was like, I object to the concept of these adventures. Okay,
I'll explain. So 2 of them are comedy adventures, Acquisitions Incorporated, and
I'm not against comedy. I'm not against fun.
But let me explain
but
why
I don't
they're bad.
This type of comedy, and I don't trust anyone involved at Wizards to do it well, which is why I wouldn't spend a single fucking penny on any of these. Sorry.
Okay, so why they're bad at comedy is the comedy is not happening at the table. All of them are just like, here's a humorous situation, not for your players to participate in, but for them to observe. You know, it's like you're opening a door and there's a closet full of pickle ricks, right? It's like, hey, do you remember the pickle ricks, right? I would say the Acquisitions Incorporated one is slightly better, but again, it's that same type of comedy. There's a little more material that one, so that one might be higher, but it's still in the insulting tier. The Hunt for the Thessal Hydra is kind of a starter adventure. Again, I really don't appreciate the tie-ins. We don't need to do this with Dungeons & Dragons. But again, it's not as cringy as Acquisitions Incorporated. And yeah, the not only is the Rick and Morty one, hey, look, it's a character vomiting. Hey, character says, show me what you got. Do you remember that line from the show?
I do remember, show me what you got.
Not only that.
Here's the thing, I like Rick and Morty. I think Rick and Morty is funny. That's what's doubly insulting about this.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The triple insult of the Rick and Morty one is the actual rules and descriptive text are written in a faux Rick and Morty style, which just, you know, reading Rick and Morty script, that is, whether you agree Ricky Morty is funny, reading Ricky Morty is not Morty. Frickin' Morty. Ricky Morty. All right, okay, so all those are out of the way now, Rob. They're all insulting trash. They should be skipped.
Thank you for falling on that sword for us, Matt. I wasn't
Listen,
going to.
I'm a completionist.
We
wanted to do all the 5e adventures. Like, here are all the 5e adventures.
All right, next up, back to the regular ones. Waterdeep.
Back to the Forgotten Realms.
Dungeon of the Mad Mage. I have run several parts of this.
Yeah.
Multiple
This
times.
is our mega dungeon.
Is this the only, is that right? This is
Yes.
the only mega dungeon that 5th edition has to offer. And you know what? It's a good mega dungeon. I like Dungeon of the Mad Mage. I don't love Dungeon of the Mad Mage. I spent a lot of time here. It is, now, to be clear, when I say mega dungeon, I am talking 23 levels, and they are not small levels. This is a mega dungeon. I don't really love the overarching plot. In fact, I don't hate it. I find it aggressively uninteresting. The little mini plots on each level, some of them are quite good, some of them are quite interesting. There's lots of cool NPCs. There's some neat tie-ins to Waterdeep. You know, not as many as I would like.
You have a base of operations, right? Yawning Portal and Waterdeep.
I think
that's
what's cool
good
about this one that I like a lot is you literally go down the well in the Yawning Portal, and then there you are. And you can go in, you can fight, you can go back up. What's-his-face gives you a drink, and you go back down. I think that it really plays perfectly into the dungeon crawl fantasy. You go.
Is it
you fight.
the best mega dungeon? Is it as good as Abomination Vaults?
No.
Is it as good as Stone Hell?
Yeah. The thing is, and this is interesting, other third parties have really mastered the mega dungeon format, and they've done a better job. This is worth looking at to steal and borrow from. It works well, which is what I did as part of or a continuation from a Waterdeep campaign. But by itself, this is lunch pail. This is a very workable but not exceptional dungeon, in my opinion.
I have not run this one like you. I have read this. We have a short episode talking about parts of this. It is absolutely the definition of like a good B+ adventure. Would you put this at the top of?
This is the top of Lunch Pail to me. Yeah.
Okay, better than Keys.
That's your call.
I would say.
I'm not
Keys is
attached to it. It's good. It's not great.
Yeah.
All right. Finally, we are to Waterdeep Dragon Heist.
And just to remind our listeners, we've now gone back in time 5 years. It's 2018. That's
Matt,
how long
that's
this one
6
came
years
out.
ago, bud.
6 years. Damn it.
It's 2024, my friend.
No.
Also, it's worth mentioning, this is almost to when we launched this motherfucking podcast.
Okay.
That's how long ago.
Oh, good for us. Oh,
Good
yeah.
for us.
Yeah.
So, as you all know, we talk about this all the time. We did some episodes on this. I have run this like 2.5 times. I love Waterdeep Dragon Heist. It is one of my favorite adventures of all time. This is my number 1 for 5th edition. There's a lot to like about it. One of the things I like about it is that it's short. It is only
so short.
5 level
1 through
adventure,
5.
but it's
an urban adventure.
It's tight.
We love that.
It's organized. One thing that I really like, which is maybe a me thing, but it kind of does matter. Everyone is different. You have a different villain every time you run this campaign. If you run it multiple times, there's a whole cast of really good villains, from Jarl Axel Bainra to the Castellanters. There's a bunch of great locations. It really it moves at a rapid clip. It really
moves.
It has some mystery sections, which Matt and I have talked about at length.
Right.
You have to give more to your players, but
it does need, again, like all these adventures, a little bit more connective tissue. But I think one of the strengths is because you're choosing your villains, you as the DM, it kind of helps you get going on fleshing out the connections. I wish it did more and had more linking parts. I also wish heist wasn't in the name.
It is the main problem with this is it's deceptive in that you are not actually doing a heist. A heist is happening and you sort of have to stop it. But this is a tremendous campaign.
Okay.
It's a standalone. Great as a start. To me, this is an S tier adventure. This is my first S tier. If you want to fight me, that's okay. But I really do think that this is a really, really good. Yes, it has flaws, but I think that of the ones we've talked about, this is the easiest to work with. It gives you the most, and you have to do the least work for the most benefit. This is an S tier adventure for me.
So I agree with you, and one of the reasons is because the setting you're given. So first off, it's set in Waterdeep. One of the advantages of all the places that don't exist in the world, maybe the most has been written by both fans and officially licensed things about Waterdeep, but there's a whole section here that's probably all you need, and it does a really good job. So I would say that alone is a great concept. The adventure gets the players really invested in the city, and the motivations, desires, and goals of their antagonists, both as organizations and as a actual villain, are so fleshed out, and there's so much information. There's a little misstep in that, you're given all their layers, and there's no reason to go there as written. You should absolutely take your players to the layers.
This is the main thing that I would change. Is
listen,
an
S tier
for a follow up, but they're not in the adventure. You don't actually have to go to any of these layers, but you should. Yeah.
Yeah. Listen. S tier doesn't mean perfect. No published adventure is perfect. I would agree with you. This one is pretty unforgettable. It's a great campaign. So much is packed in those 5 layers. Sometimes I forget that this one is shorter and less levels to ones that are 300 pages. It blows some of those out of the water.
This is so rare. It has very little of that cruft that I complained about. It's tight. So much happens. There's so much information. This is the only. Is this right? The only urban campaign that we get.
Yeah.
And which is a shame because I love urban campaigns. And it's like Matt said, it's not perfect, but it is rich and fun to run and dynamic and interesting, and so much to work with, and it doesn't feel like a chore to run. Like I was excited to run this. I was motivated. I did not feel like any of the work that I had to do to prepare was too much work. It is like your players have a ton of agency. Speaking of like what, like you in both in terms of like who they ally with, the factions that they work with, the places they go, how they solve the problem at the end.
Yeah.
This is one
There's
of the
so much agency.
This is
There's
one of the
so much
best-
the stars of
Yeah.
the show.
This is one of the best for agency. Like they really have control of like how they solve the problems. And yeah, this is, and you know, going back to my list of criteria, this is unique in like the setting is not unique. Waterdeep, like Matt said, is which works because the format and
every square and back alley has had a one of the world's greatest adventurers born there, lived there. Like it's like London. It's got the little blue circles on the on the wall, being like
the format and the
Drizzt
style
took a shit here.
of this is totally unique to 5th edition adventures. It's really, really fun. Strong recommendation and one of my favorites, S tier adventure.
All right, Rob. I think it's almost time to take another break, but I have two things for you, which is one, we should reassess and move any that you have, and two, I have the first move on this one, is I like Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frost Maiden better than Waterdeep Dragon Heist. Now, I know some people might disagree with me, and I'm not saying I'm actually right, but I'm saying, maybe there should. I'm not saying it should move above that, but
you planted a seed in my brain, which is that would it be unforgettable? And you know what? This is what I liked about Icewind Dale is that like it felt like if you ran that campaign, it would be unforgettable. So like that's what we named our S tier. And the more I think about it, the more I think that even though it's deeply flawed, in a way. So here's the thing: Waterdeep Dragon Heist has fewer flaws. It is a very rare
I agree.
for D&D is a very well structured campaign with not a lot of like major logic errors. So that's why I put it in S tier. But I think that I want to respect Icewind Dale's flawed ambition more. I think let's move that to S tier. I think you're right. I think let's move it to S tier.
I think it might be unforgettable. More flaws. Right, but you know,
and
also,
if you want to move to the top, that's okay.
Payoff.
But I'm washing my hands of the position. But it definitely, the more I think about it, the more I think unforgettable.
I think
yes.
I think you're probably correct. I know I have an idiosyncratic opinion here. I'm like letting me. I'm being swayed by my own preferences for like big sandboxes and exploration. I should also say, are there any that we feel like now that we've gone through a big chunk that might be misplaced? It's okay if you don't have any, but now we have a lot to compare is what I'm saying.
You know, the B and C tier, some of these I'm like, you know, that one's a lot fuzzier, so I'm like, I'm not sure on, but like I feel pretty good that everything belongs in one of those tiers, so I'm not super pressed about moving them between B and C, but you know, I could be convinced that one of them needs to move up and one of them needs to move down.
Rob, this is probably me just being like ships, space, but I'm looking at I know it's at the bottom of B tier, but Light of Xerxes, the Spelljammer one, like there's no way it's as good as Dungeon of the Mad Mage or Call of the Neverdeep. I think we should probably knock it down to you know what? It's a fixer-upper. It has cool concepts, but you got to fix it. It's
in my
not
opinion,
lunch
it's the
pail.
best fixer-upper. But I think you're right. I think that's because again, now that we've talked about it more, that one needs a lot of work. Just because there are parts I liked about it doesn't mean that it doesn't need a lot of work, because it really does.
Our episode about this is just like, and here's a cool idea. Here's what you need to do to fix it. This is why this makes no sense and will frustrate your players. Again, it's a fixer-upper. All right, any other adjustments before we sign off for a few and finish our tier list? Come back and finish our tier list.
That feels good. That feels like a correct. Yeah.
Folks, thanks for sticking with us. We only have 8 more.
We're gonna try to move through these quickly. All right, here we go.
All
Be
right.
back.
You better roll them dice. You never know if it could change your life. Take a chance, you're neither wrong or right. You never know if you don't roll them dice. You better roll them dice. You never know if it'll change your life. Take a chance, you